and I would really appreciate it if you would stop Rob Taylor from blathering on and on.
Opinions expressed by talk show hosts, callers, or guests on the Rob Taylor Report do not necessarily represent the opinions of the hosting platform, subsidiaries, sponsors, or possibly anyone else on the planet or the known universe. From the tinfoil and lead-lined broadcast bunker on the beautiful southern coast of Oregon, it's the Rob Taylor Report. So strap yourself in. Your weekly political therapy session is about to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, the nearly famous Rob Taylor.
Thank you all for joining me. We've got a really special show. I've got an incredibly good guest on tonight. It's election season. I got to talk to politicians. I got to talk to candidates. And sometimes it's not always fun to talk to candidates. Well, today we're going to have fun. This is a really good candidate. I really enjoyed speaking with her at the candidate forum. I think it was a week or two ago that we had here in Coos County. If you went to that, you know how good it was. And before I get to her, I just want to remind everyone right now that Elmer and Carol are sitting at the headquarters in North Bend at the Newmark Plaza on Newmark and Broadway, 3229 Broadway, Suite F, under the Century 21 sign. We don't just have those 4 petitions that you see listed. We have 6 petitions, and 2 of those petitions, one of them is the new Mannix petition to help us fight the crime here, the catch and release situation. And the other one is to repeal Measure 114. If you're interested in that, and I'm willing to bet you guys are, you need to head over there. They'll be there till 6 o'clock tonight. I'll be there for the next 2 nights from 2 to 6 to get those petition signatures. I just wanted to let you people know in case you're wondering and you want to get out and sign those petitions. Once again, at the Newmark Plaza underneath the Century 21 sign. And I also have to let you all know that we're playing Where's 3H Tree Service? Somewhere right now in Marshfield High School, you can find a 3H Tree Service crane. And if you do, you win the prize. Hopefully someone will win the prize during the podcast. Wouldn't that be neat? That would be neat. I'd be really thrilled about that. Well, joining me right now is a young lady who I have high hopes for, and I hope that you are just as entertained and thrilled that you have her as a candidate for District 9 as I am, and that is Claire Lynn. Claire Lynn, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Rob. Thank you so much for having me.
I was excited to have you on here because I was really thrilled that there were other people joining up for this race. I thought it was going to be kind of a lackluster race, and now I'm excited for it.
Thank you. I am too. I'm working hard. I was out knocking doors in Florence on Saturday for about 3.5 or 4 hours, connecting with voters, and it's fun. You know, Florence is my hometown, and so every couple doors I got to see somebody that I knew, but as a candidate in a different light. And so it was really fun. And it was a t-shirt weather on the Oregon coast in March. So it was great.
That would be fun here in Coos County. When you get around to Coos County, let our group know. The friends, the Fockers over here. That's what we're known as. The Friends of the Coos County Republicans. And we would love to get some volunteers out there to help you go knock on doors. I think that's something that more candidates need to do more of. And it's something we did for the Todd Vaughn campaign last year. And it's fun to knock on doors, isn't it? I mean, you must, really.
I really enjoy it. I think it's the best way to really start getting the heartbeat of what's most important to people. And probably no surprise to you, what I heard over and over again is, you know, I don't know much about politics. What I do know is my groceries are too expensive, my gas is too expensive, and why the heck is the state government trying to pass a $4.3 billion gas tax? And so the movement around that, as you know, has been amazing. And so I heard that over and over again.
I think Ed Deal really did a huge favor for the Republicans in the legislature when he filed that repeal on the CASA tax. I think that was something that strategically we did great on that. I think he did a really good job, and I think it's going to carry a lot of Republicans back into office. What is your opinion on that? Do you think that he was right on that?
Oh, absolutely. And I think just the movement we saw, I think for once we really saw unification that kind of surpassed party lines. I mean, these were not just Republicans signing this. It was independents, Democrats who are tired of things costing so much. And I'm hopeful that this could kind of we see a lot of bad bills coming out of the legislature. And so I'm excited to see if we could keep this organization going, what we can do with this formula moving forward. Senate Bill 1507, trying to disconnect Oregon from some of the federal tax benefits we saw in HR 1, big, beautiful bill. Democrats are trying to take away the Oregonians' ability to reap some of those benefits and our small business owners. And Ed Deal, I think, is saying that he's going to put portions of that on the ballot as well. So I'm hopeful to see where that goes.
I would love that. I would be all in on that. And I think it's a good way to get public opinion straight to the politicians. I mean, how faster than delivering 250,000 signatures plus? I mean, that was just where they stopped. Plus, that's like a big, hey, we're here and we're not going away kind of moment, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've been in politics a while and people really don't know you because you're kind of behind the scenes, but you've been working in the legislature for quite a while, and you worked for Walden, didn't you?
I interned for Congressman Walden while I was in college. And so I refer to that as kind of the last normal summer pre-COVID, summer of 2019. And he retired, I think, a year or two following that. And so I was grateful to have that opportunity to do that.
What were some of the big successes that you thought, because you were an intern, it's always a learning curve when you go in as an intern for anyone who ever experiences legislation, how it's written, how it's produced and stuff. What was the biggest impact? What impacted you the most of that experience?
Well, I have to say I'm a history nerd. So I also have my history degree, and I always thought my history and government teacher growing up was the person who single-handedly made the biggest impact on me educationally. And so I always thought maybe someday I would go be a history teacher and give back in the same way that he really fostered me. And so one of the things I loved as an intern was the ability to give U.S. Capitol tours to constituents coming from Oregon. And it was the first time so many people said, I really wish I would have paid attention in high school history class, because when you're there in the midst of it all, people love it. And it's personal. You can see where George Washington laid the first cornerstone at the U.S. Capitol. And I think it changes people's outlook and perspective. So that was one of the things that I loved.
How hard was it to live in DC? I mean, I don't know how much you guys make, but it just seems like it would be so hard for people, you know what I mean, who aren't making a lot of money to live in Washington, DC, because it's like really expensive there.
Yeah, and especially as an intern, you're just getting a stipend. But there are places that try to provide really discounted housing for interns. And so that's something I've tried to kind of return that favor to other college students that I know who are wanting to get involved, and make sure they know about the opportunities available to them to go have the same experience that I did.
That is cool. That is very cool, because I think that, and I'm glad that they have that, and I'm glad they have that here as well in Salem. A lot of people may not know that, but they have the interns here as well, right? I believe they do, right?
Yeah, there's interns at the state
Yeah.
capitol. Yeah. As far as housing opportunities or staying up there, that part I'm not as familiar with, but there's definitely opportunities to intern in offices.
Let me ask you something. We don't pay a whole lot of money to our representatives here in Oregon, and some states they do, some states not as much. There are arguments for, against it, but how do you plan on making ends meet on such a limited budget that they pay representatives? And I don't mean just you. This is everyone up there is not getting any money, and people don't realize how little you get. I think it's like $27,000 a year.
Yeah, I think it's 35,000 if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me 100% on that. But well, I have a lot of experience in communications and marketing, and so I'm working hard to get elected once I'm on the other side. My husband and I help with our family ranch in the summers, so that's a couple months out of the year, and I'm just going to go see what I can do on the side for another private business, and I'll cross that bridge when I get there.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine it's tough, and it's like I said, there's arguments for or against it, but I think that's what limits a lot of people from running for office, is that, once again, Salem is very expensive to live. Some people are just priced out. Do you think that maybe in Oregon we do kind of eliminate some people who have the potential of being good representatives because they're kind of priced out of the office?
That's a great point and a great question. And I am a younger candidate running. That's no secret.
Right.
And I think that's why you do see a lot of people who are retired and who have the ability to go do that, enter at that age. And so I do think, that is something that would probably open the door for other candidates to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's almost, maybe the Republicans could, how we had Animal House was filmed in Oregon. Maybe we could rent an Animal House for the representatives up in Salem, but not so much of an Animal House. But you know what I mean? Someplace that representatives who don't have a whole lot of means can go up there and also represent. It's sad that I think we miss out on a lot of people who just can't run because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're the policymaker, and I love that, because being in history, it must be very frustrating seeing some of the policies that go through the state of Oregon. With the woke agenda, they're almost destroying history in many ways. Have you found that in the Oregon legislature? Are you frustrated with how they're trying to represent our past and our America's history, Oregon's history too?
I absolutely am frustrated. One of the things we talked about at the forum about a week or two ago now is, despite ranking 50th in the nation for fourth grade reading scores, one of the things our legislature is choosing to focus on is mandating climate change curriculum in our K through 12 classrooms. We should be focusing on reading, writing, and math, and providing other opportunities to our kids, because we know education isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. For some kids, public school is not the best avenue. It could be private school or homeschool or charter schools. And so it feels like at every corner, instead of trying to make things better, we're actively asking more or pushing these extreme climate agendas into our schools.
And that's the odd thing, because that seems like a bipartisan issue. It seems like a human issue. We all want good education for our kids. So even if you were pushing that type of agenda, you would still want reading, writing, and arithmetic. So why is there any chance, because I know this is hard, you're in the minority. If you go up there, you'll probably be in a minority. But what chance do you think there is you could work with the Democrats to get a better school bill, maybe to require standards again? I don't know.
I think, well, you probably saw the headlines, Rob, about that the teachers union is choosing not to endorse Governor Kotek. And so I think we're seeing some things changing. And so I'm hopeful that we can continue to try to pass legislation that will improve things and not actively make things worse, especially when it comes to our kids and education, because like you said, that shouldn't be a partisan one-sided issue.
I'm glad you mentioned that. She's our governor. She's something else, but that's huge that the teachers union is not endorsing the Democrat governor. I don't know if they realize how huge that was. And when I saw that, I said, that's a statement.
Absolutely.
And I know you're not running for governor, but I kind of want your opinion on this. You're now in the mix. We have 12 candidates for governor. They're in the Republican primary. We don't know who's going to get out. When that person gets out, do you think right now, this year, what do you think of the chances, and what do you think, and how long of a time? What are the chances now? Are we able, or do you think we could possibly take Salem, take the capital, take the governor's office?
Well, the governor's race, I think we have an incredible opportunity right now. I think you've seen the movement with the referendum. The things Governor Kotek said she was going to do and improve in 2022, she has not delivered on. We don't have more housing. We've continued to spend more. We're getting less. We spend more on homelessness services. The problem has gotten worse. Clearly, education, we talked about that. We're not doing well. And so I think I'm excited about the opportunity to really get a new governor this year. And I think we have a good opportunity ahead of us. And I believe campaign finance goes into effect somewhere here down the road. I think there was just a delay for that. But we have to take advantage of this cycle in front of us.
Yeah, that's and I think with all the factors in the fact that this governor is an unpopular governor, the fact that Ed Deal and some of the Republicans were smart enough to do that repeal at the time they did it, and the timing right now of it going through the legislature and it being, well, it's a show for the people that they're not going to forget by November. That's for darn sure. Yeah, I think we have a heck of a chance this year. I really do. Yeah. And so one of the things, if you get in, what do you think the odds are of getting more Republicans elected in the House and the Senate?
I absolutely hope to see us get out of the super minority to start. I think we have definitely some really great candidates in what you would call our swing seats. And so I'm hopeful that at the very least, we're no longer in the super minority where Democrats can pass any new taxes without a single Republican vote. And that at the minimum, we're just back in the minority. So, and I do think we have the right candidates who are working hard, already knocking doors to help pick up a couple seats.
Yeah. And I think you're right. And once again, I think for all the various reasons that you mentioned, a couple of other issues that I wanted to talk about, because this is once again I see it as a nonpartisan. Maybe the Democrats don't, but there's a situation going on in Oregon, and I've been warning about it for the last several years, and it's now taken a toll on our district attorney's office. It's taken a toll across the state as far as allowing bad criminals get loose. It's taken a toll as far as hurting good people as their Sixth Amendment right is being denied. But we need more public defenders in Oregon. It seems like a nonpartisan thing. I'm not sure how much you're aware of it, but do you think, once again, could you work with the Democrats, or do you think you could craft some type of policy with the public defender's office to actually get funding back to those people?
This specific issue, I'm not super familiar on, but I would say broadly speaking, the amount of money we have in our state budget, it's not the problem. It's how we're choosing to spend it.
Yep.
We have a $140 billion state budget. We didn't need to pass a new gas tax. We have ODOT spending, I believe it's $28 million in their budget on a climate and equity division, which we don't know what they do, what they produce.
Right.
And so I think when you look at the public defender crisis, that's something. Budgets reflect priorities. We're spending almost double what we're spending on our Oregon State Police on non-citizen healthcare for non-citizens.
Yeah.
And we have to be serious about looking at the core functions of government. I think people want good schools, good roads, and they want government to be doing the bare minimum, and certainly providing public defenders is a core function of government.
A core function. It's like I said, you have to have public defenders to be able to uphold someone's Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial. It's something that is absolutely necessary. But the thing is that we're right now, and this is something that's happening in a lot of counties. We've got a county commissioner we literally have a GoFundMe page for $10,000 so that we can put this guy on trial who's accused of murder. That's how far bad we are in Coos County. Well, that's a story that I hope someone tells, if you win, tells on the floor of the legislature, of how we are actually having to go out with hand in jar, jar in a hand, please give us money. What do you think of that?
Well, I was just at a Saturday night, it's the Reedsport Educational Enrichment Foundation banquet. And this organization helps try to raise money for supplemental activities for our kids. So additional field trips and opportunities to get them out to go to OMSI or different museums around the state. My dad is a Reedsport High School alumni, and we had teachers who are not from this area at our table, and they started asking my dad, when did the mill close? Was that when you were in high school? Was that when you were in college? Because we just hear about what Reedsport used to be like when industry was booming and thriving. And I think when you talk about us having to come to the state with our handout, if we supported private business and private industries, and like our timber industry, which is near and dear to my heart, that's where I come from, those are my roots, we wouldn't have to come to the state making these asks. And
right.
I am hopeful. We have a president in Washington, D.C. who's prioritizing timber in a way that we haven't seen in 30 years. And I just spoke at the Oregon Logging Conference and talked about the fact that we actually have a former private industry timber executive that's the chief of the U.S. Forest Service. Yeah. And that brings a different perspective to everything. And so when things feel a little heavy here in Oregon and we start to get really frustrated, I'm hopeful of what we're seeing in Washington, D.C. And I want to be an advocate for how can Oregon reap the benefits of what this federal administration is doing wherever possible, and not continually spend millions and millions of dollars suing the federal administration like we see our attorney general doing.
Oh, I know.
Very
and once again, we don't have any money, but we got plenty of money to sue Trump over, nonsense. And the BLM, it was the BLM, I'm pretty sure. And this involves us here in Coos County specifically. You're familiar with the ONC lands. You're from Eugene, you know this stuff. They just allowed
Florence. Don't knock me down there.
I'm sorry. You're from that Lane County area.
Yes. West Lane County is a different place than Eugene.
Right. Well, Springfield is a different place from Eugene, and it's
Yes.
right next to each other, and it's weird. It's like you can go to Springfield and it's like a totally different vibe than Eugene. I don't know. I get that.
Yep. Just like your rural Western Lane County and Triangle Lake and Mapleton and Florence.
Yeah.
We're not Eugene, even though we're part of Lane County.
And that's, yeah, Reedsport claims the same thing with Douglas County. It's like we're really not part of them, but they claim us. And so it's funny how those counties they really wanted a port. That's why they're all the way to the ocean. That's, I think, was the need there for those counties. And Coos County and Curry County were kind of locked in down here. We don't go far out, but we like it that way. We love it because we're far away from everyone. There's not a lot of people out here. It's beautiful out here. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Mhm.
And so I was talking about the BLM taking 2.5 million acres. They're actually going to manage it. They're going to cut it down. What I'm worried about is that it's going to cause our legislature to have a conniption and all of a sudden want to shut down state lands to any management, because they want to respond to what the BLM and the Trump administration is doing. Is that a concern? Is that something we should really be worried about?
Well, I certainly haven't heard that specifically, but I would keep my ears and eyes to the ground and push back whenever possible if that comes up.
Yeah.
So.
And one last question before I get you out of here, and then I'll give you a few minutes to say what you'd like to say. Wind turbines. They wanted to put wind turbines off our coast. Curry said 80% of the people said no who voted. 60% of the people who voted in the last election said no here in Coos County. What do you say about wind turbines off the coast?
Well, I'm proudly endorsed by Representative Boomer Wright in this race. And I worked with Representative Wright when he put together public statements where he said, our tribes are saying no, our fishing communities are saying no, and our just citizens who are part of the community who value our fishing industry, they don't want this either. And I absolutely think there are real concerns. And when you have your industry and your tribes aligned saying they have concerns, we absolutely have a responsibility to listen.
Yeah. And I think the tribes were, to be honest with you, I think the lawsuit they filed was probably, if President Trump wouldn't have won, I think that lawsuit would have gone quite well for us. I think the courts were doing well with us on that. So hopefully we won't get any wind turbines, and I think the president's going to keep them off our coast. So before I get you out of here, you are running for House District 9. I got your website up right underneath you. What would you like to tell the listeners of Coos County before I get you out of here?
Oh, well, thank you. Well, first and foremost, I will be at the Marshfield High School Forum. I'm sure you're putting a plug in for that on the 14th, which is this coming Saturday. So I'd love to have the opportunity to meet any Coos County voters who are going to be attendance there. But I'm a seventh generation Oregonian. I grew up in Florence. I'm a proud Siuslaw High School graduate and a logger's daughter. My family still has our logging business in Florence, and we have a cow-calf operation. We produce our own hay in the summers. And so logging, agriculture, those are my roots. And I'm proud to share in that heritage. And I just want to bring common sense back to Salem. I want to be a younger voice in the Capitol, a fighter for our conservative movement. We've got to look at developing some real solutions to our cost of living problem. Adding a new regulation every single time. I mean, we add a lot of new regulations every session, but every regulation we add costs businesses, ultimately costs Oregonians money. And we've got to prioritize public safety, and we have to prioritize education. And so those are my top 3 priorities. And I would just love to ask anyone who's in House District 9 for your vote. My website is clairefororegon.com, and I hope to meet more people on Saturday.
And we will make sure that happens. If you, I think, didn't you have an event earlier that day?
I don't have an event earlier that day. I am having a kickoff in Florence on March 18th in Florence.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Perfect. But the 14th, you'll be here. Great. And we'll get those doors open up. The thing starts at 5. I think we'll get the doors open up at 4. If you want to show up a little bit early, we'll have plenty of people there. And I
Perfect.
appreciate everything you're doing. I appreciate you running for office.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Rob.
No problem. Anytime. And you take care. Okay, Claire?
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. And that was Claire Lynn for Oregon, House District 9. How refreshing. I'll tell you what, I appreciate the other Republican candidate who came on, who's her challenger in the primary. That was Troy Cribbins. But I just really think that Claire is much more of a refreshing, much more of a new voice. I think she's much more attentive to what people in Coos County want. She's a logger's daughter. Okay, that should tell you something. You know, her family has a farm, a ranch. She raises cattle. So those are things we need to think about when we're picking people to go up to the big house. And yeah, I probably using that reference for the prisons too, but we can't lock them all up. And we wouldn't want to lock Claire up. She's one of the good ones. But we want to send her off to the big house in Salem, to the Capitol. And I would definitely, I'm probably leaning towards totally supporting Claire and giving her every bit of support that I can. And I hope you vote for her. I think she's the better candidate in the primary. Normally I don't, suggest that before March 10th, because tomorrow is the final day that if you want to run for office, that you can sign up to run for office. One of the things that's happening right now, and it happens every time there's an election, is that we will ask for people to sign up for the election a year before it happens. We were asking people a year ago to sign up for the 2026 election. We were telling people there were 2 commissioners, there's a sheriff, there's a county clerk, and we were pleading with people, somebody has to run. And to do that, that means you have to do your due diligence. That means you have to go to the meetings, you have to find out what's going on with the county or the city or whatever district you're running for. Now, the smaller districts are much easier. You can get away with just filing the day before the election deadline. But if you're running for commissioner, you're running for sheriff, you're running for county clerk, or you're running for anything higher as a state rep, a federal rep, or governor, or one of the statewide seats, such as treasurer or secretary of state, if you're going to run for one of those positions, you do not sign up the day before the day of the deadline to sign up for the election. And I don't know why people have to wait to the very last minute, because I know tomorrow, if they don't do it today, I know tomorrow that there will be people signing up. In fact, I might as well, let's go ahead and let's see if somebody has signed up, because I think this is important. For any of those positions for the county. Let's share my screen. Let's go over here to Claire Lynn. This is the lady lovely young lady who I just had on the show. Very good person. But I want to take you all over to the county's website. Here is the county's website right there. And let's go down to the clerk's office. Go over to elections. You see the elections right there. There's the May 19, 2026 primary. We'll go right there. Click on that. Let's go down a little bit. And it looks like we got 2 candidates for sheriff. Mike Kennard is running and Gabe Fabrizio. Julie Brecky is running, but from what I understand, there are going to be 2 new people signing up for clerk. and that's going to be happening tonight or tomorrow. But I thought it was odd that people would wait to the very last minute to sign up. I mean, we're more than happy to help good candidates. The problem is that there's a finite amount of time. And if you come to a group of people who help candidates, who help get candidates out there, and you wait till the very last minute, it's so hard for us to help you. It's so hard to get you involved into all the things that we're doing because we got to have a schedule for things that are going on. Give you an example, this governor's debate. I mean, it was over a week ago that Claire knew she was going to be in the debate before the governor's debate. She knew that. And all the governor candidates, they knew that about a month ago, more than a month ago now. And so it takes time to plan these things. And so if you're someone who wants to run for office and you wait for the very last minute, in this case, March 10th, what happens is that you catch us completely off guard and we can't prepare a decent campaign for you. You know what I mean? It's very hard for us. And once again, if it was just city council or the fire district, that's no problem. That's no problem. We'll get the word out on that. That's much easier to win. But it's for county commissioner or for the clerk's office, it's just not a good thing. And as you can see, we still have the same two people who are running for county commissioner position 2, John Sweet and Brandy Martindale. We still have the same two people, Rick Osborne and Rick Coleman, running for commissioner position 3. And like I said, we do have a new candidate in the sheriff's department. But as of right now, unless you sign up tomorrow, there's really not much you can do. As far as getting a good election out there, it just takes time to do that. And I don't know why people wait for the last minute. But there is something else that you have to do by tomorrow. And this is something you don't have to have a campaign. You don't have to run anything. This is just putting your name on the ballot. And that is for PCP. We're looking for people who want to be precinct committee people. Precinct committee person, that's the person who sits on the committee for a political party, a major party, and decides the executive board. That's the chair, the vice chair, the treasurer, and all the people who basically are running the party. You get to decide who those people are. So you want to pick people who are like you, who share your values. And that's why we need more good conservatives on the Republican committee, on the Coos County Republican committee. If you scan this right here, if you scan that, it will take you to where you can find, where you have a page where you can sign up at the Secretary of State's office so that you can sign up for precinct committee person. And we would highly recommend that everyone does that. Let's see if I got, there's also a place where if you don't know, if you're not sure who what your precinct is, there is a place you can go, and I'm looking for it right now. That's why I'm a little distracted. Oh, where is it? I can't find it. Oh, shoot, darn it. I had a website for you, and I don't seem to have saved it here. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it in my browser. Coos Integrity. PCP. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So now I'm going to share this tab. And this tab right here is where you can go and find out what precinct you're in. This has become a PCP. And that also has a link on this site where you can go to that same page that the QR code takes you. And very good page. This was set up by Marty, but you can find out. This is only for people who live in Coos County, I believe. And if you don't know which precinct you live in, you just type your name, Taylor, or you put that in, and it'll give you all the Taylors. And then you go down and you find out which one you might be. And of course, I'm Robert, so I'm way down the line there. Actually, I think I'm Rob. Yep. Rob Taylor, Republican. And I'm in precinct 16, as you can see there. And I'm registered. I'm registered for the ballot, and I want everyone else to be registered for the ballot. We've got 70 people. We can have up to 198. So there's plenty of room, folks. So if you live in Bandon, especially Bandon, I think we have like 14, 15 spots open, folks. We need your help. We need people to get involved. If you are sick and tired of how the Republican Party keeps picking bad candidates to run for office, this is how you stop it. This is how you get involved. You become a PCP. You go to the meetings, the organizing meetings, and you put people on the executive board who share your values. America First Republicans, not those Republicans that are on the executive committee right now. You got people like Michael Brainerd, who's been palling around with David Brock Smith. It's funny. People have been saying, oh, Rob, you have no evidence that those guys pal around, that they're really close. Well, I'll have evidence for you. I've got all kinds of pictures of David Brock Smith at events with Michael Brainerd and showing their close relationship. Anyone who says that he doesn't have an influence over Brainerd, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So this is a county chair. Michael Brainerd is a county chair that's under the thumb of a state senator who's an incumbent who wants to keep his position, and he's having to fight to keep that position. Why? Because he supports windmills. He supports tampons in the boys' bathroom. And now David Brock Smith is running against Merkley. I don't know if you guys saw that, but yeah, David Brock Smith is running against Merkley. And even David Brock Smith, even an idiot like him, and I know people go, whoa, why do you say that about Smith? He plays 3D chess underwater. No, he doesn't. And he's not a genius, but he is a con man as far as I'm concerned. And what he's doing is he's running against Merkley so that he can raise money for his political action committee. He is dwindling in funds, and he wants to get some of that money up there. So there are people out there who think David is a great guy. They're going to give him money to run against Merkley. Joe Ray Perkins, who probably will be at the candidate forum on Saturday. I think we're going to have Joe Ray at the candidate forum on Saturday between 5 and 7. So that ought to be entertaining. But she is also running against Merkley. So now she's in the primary with David Brock Smith and a guy named Muck. I think it's David Muck. Is it David Muck? I'm not sure about the first name, but his last name is Muck, M-U-C-K. And this is going to be an interesting primary because there are people now trying to get Dudley to re-register from running for governor and have him run against Merkley. And I think that would be better. That would be better because we got too many damn Republicans running for governor. It'd be nice to have some good Republicans running against Merkley. And I think Merkley would have a hell of a lot more time fending off people like Chris Dudley than he would funding, because it's easier for him to defend himself against people like Joe Ray Perkins and especially like David Brock Smith. I don't know if you guys have seen his announcement on Twitter or Facebook. Man, the people are just eating him up. He is not a very popular man. He's not a very popular man at all, but it's sad that he's running, and it's sad that he's using the county party to to keep his position. And it's sad because we're going to get a bunch of PCPs in there. We have over 70 PCPs. Most of these are new people. And when they win in May, they're going to have a new organizing meeting. It may not be till November, actually, until they get that organizing meeting, but hopefully we'll be able to do it before then, and we'll be able to get rid of Michael Brainerd, and we'll be able to get rid of the bad executive board that we have now and put in people who actually are America First, Trump-supporting Republicans. Michael Brainerd is not. He doesn't support Trump. He doesn't really support conservative values. And I really don't know how the hell this young man became the chair of the Republican Party other than he was placed there by people who thought that they could control and manipulate him. And, well, that's what we have. And it's a very, very sad situation. So, I want to get out of that. I don't really want to talk about that. I did want to talk about we were talking about the BLM and the BLM is going to be, they're going to be opening up 2.5 million acres for management, hopefully to cut down some of the forest there, because we need to cut it down. And let's see. Yeah, got the right one. So here we are. This article here talks about 83% hotel tax for wildfire passes. This is infuriating. This is one of those things where we are already taxed enough in Oregon. And at a time when businesses are fleeing Oregon, they're fleeing Oregon, and especially the tourism industry. You know, you're talking about hotels and motels. You know, after what happened to them during COVID, after what happened to them with the invasion of illegal aliens, what has happened to hotels and motels is just absolutely horrible. And especially the hotels in bigger cities. But 83% hotel tax for wildlife passes. HB 4134, and this, by the way, is from the Oregon Watchdog on the OregonCatalyst.com website. I like to give them credit where credit's due, but they put out this article, and it says HB 4134 raises the hotel tax by 83% in order to fund wildlife programs and forestry. The hotel lodging tax is supposed to be dedicated to promoting tourism. Now it is promoting animal life. The tax has passed the House and Senate and now awaits the governor's signature. Remember, breweries are closing at large numbers. 29 closed in 2025. International travel is dropping. Some areas saw 40% of drop in the travel, the tourism in their area. A dozen award-winning and acclaimed restaurants closed in Portland in the last 5 years. And of course, the legacy festivals are closing due to rising costs and customer decline. You know, what can I tell you? This once again is, we are going to tax you people to death. It doesn't matter what you do, how you do it. We're going to find a way to get money from you. And the thing is that this, if they're going to do a hotel motel tax, it should either go to our infrastructure or it should go to the justice system. It should be going to pay for all those public defenders that we don't have. Maybe it should pay for all those rape kits that we don't have the money to process. There are tens of thousands of rape kits in Oregon that haven't been processed to find out who raped these poor victims who were victims of these sick rapists and pedophiles. We don't know because we don't have the money to do anything about that, but we are going to take that money and we're going to basically waste it, because you know that the state of Oregon doesn't manage forest. They don't manage forest. The federal government didn't manage forest under Biden. And this is what they're planning on doing. And this is where I need you guys to come in. This is where I need your help. This is just, and it's not just for me. I don't need your help. America, Oregon needs your help. Coos County needs your help. Let me read this to you. It says, notice of intent to revise resource management plans for Northwestern and Coastal Oregon and Southwestern Oregon and Oregon, Washington, and prepare an associated environmental impact statement. And what they're doing with this federal registry, and I want to go down here, show you what we have here. This is the Department of Interior. The BLM is under that department. Here's the action, notice of intent, and it says, in support of the Oregon and California Revested Railroad Lands Act of 1937, the ONC Act, in compliance with the National Environmental Policy Act of 1969, as amended NEPA, and the Federal Land Policy and Management Act of 1976, as amended, the Bureau of Land Management, Oregon, Washington State Office intends to prepare a revision of the Northwestern and Coastal Oregon Resources Management Plan and Southwestern Oregon Resources Management Plan. Hereafter, the RMPs with an associated environmental analysis. The magnitude of unprecedented and destructive wildfires and other threats to forest health over the last decade, approaches to management, including the barred owl management, and severely reduced timber production compared to historically higher levels, and its resulting adverse economic consequences merit consideration in an RMP revision. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. This notice announces the beginning of the scoping period to solicit public comments and identify issues, providing planning criteria for public review, and seek comment on current and future land use designations in the planning areas. The RMP revisions would replace the existing RMPs. Doesn't that sound great, folks? What that means is they want to come in and cut down some trees, and the money that they get from selling those trees will go to the counties that are within, that have the ONC lands within them. And that's going to be huge. That's going to be really huge. And so when I show you the, that 83% tax, that's not really going to go, that the state legislature, that 83% hotel tax, they say that's going to go to help wildfires and wildlife. Bullshit. No, that's not going to go for that. They're going to mismanage that money, just like they mismanage all money. This right here proves you don't have to spend a dime. You really don't have to spend the dime. The forests can manage, they can pay for themselves to be managed and then some. We can have the forest, we can have it for recreation, we can have it for education, we can have it for the environment, we can have it for the wildlife, and we can have it for timber production. There is no reason we can't have all of those things. And in fact, I forget the name, the Giese plan, the Giese plan for the Elliott Forest, once again, talks about we need to cut down trees or the trees are going to burn. So this is what I need. This is exactly what I need from you guys, is that I need you to give these guys a little bit of a comment. If you scroll down, and once again, you can find this under the land management. It's under the title, Notice of Intent to Revise Resources Management Plans for Northwestern and Coastal Oregon. You can find this on my Facebook page, Rob Taylor Report. It's on my Facebook page. I got it posted. I hope to post it on my blog page soon. But if you just look under here, just type in Federal Registry and the notice to revise the resource management plans of the Northwestern and Coastal Oregon, I can guarantee you this will pop up. But you got to go down here, and it talks about comments to be considered, comments concerning the scope of the analysis, potential alternatives, and identification of relevant information, studies, and ACEC nominations must be received by March 23rd. March 23rd, folks. We've been waiting a long time. So it seems like March 23rd is a pretty good date to get this stuff done. And so we need your comments. So here are the addresses. And once again, I have this on my Facebook page under Rob Taylor Report, but it will take you to this page and you can submit comments. It'll give you the website, it'll give you the email, and you can send a letter if you would like, maybe send both. I don't know, send a picture of you with Hootie the Owl, and maybe that will convince them. I don't know if that will do that, but it's very, very important that we do that. And let me see if I got the reasoning why. There, because it's important that your comments actually are addressing what they're asking to be addressed. Let's see if I can. Nope. That's not the right one. Let's see if I can find the right one. Let's see if this is it. Okay, here it is. Here it is. These are the comments I need you to make. Your comment can urge the Department of Interior too, if you make comments on this. Hold on. Let me the actual comments that I'm getting are in the middle of that. There we go. Okay, there we go. Now I can read it. Now I can read it. It says your comment can urge the department to put ONC lands back to work, supporting family wage jobs, which, gosh, what an idea that is. Ensure counties receive stable revenue for essential public services, reduce wildfire risk through active forest management. Go out, could you imagine? Cut down some trees instead of letting them burn. Wow, who would have thought of that? Deliver plans that can be implemented efficiently and effectively. This is our best opportunity to help shape the future of the ONC lands. Thoughtful public input now will influence how these forests are managed for jobs, community stability, and long-term forest health and wildfire prevention. Please take 2 minutes. That's all it takes, folks. 2 freaking minutes. And like I said, you can go to my Facebook page, and this is all on the Rob Taylor Report Facebook page, and you can find out this information. But it takes 2 minutes today to submit your comment and share this alert with others who care about healthy forests and healthy communities. Thank you for standing up for responsible forest management. Now, I got this from Nick Smith, who's with a forestry group, and I can't even think of the forestry group, Safe Forests or something like that. But very good information. And so I need you guys, please, if you can, go to this website and make a comment. It would behoove you to do that. We've been waiting since it was 1937, the ONC land was passed. In 1939, the Wagon Road Land Act was passed. That was in 1939. And since then, no other acts have been passed to remove or eliminate those 2 original acts from 1937 and 1939. So Congress has been given a directive from those acts, those congressional acts, to actually manage the forest. And all that Trump is doing is putting pressure on the Department of Interior to uphold the federal government's obligations to the counties of the ONC lands. That's all they're asking. And if you live in one of these lands, man, and you're complaining about the high taxes, then you are the person who needs to make a comment. You need to make a comment and let these people know that you're tired of the BS, that you're tired of watching forests burn and then watching the logs rot on the land because the agency won't let us clear them. It's crazy. It needs to be stopped. And then of course, we're going to get pushback. This is from the Statesman Journal. Let's see. Let me make sure that you guys can see this. This was an article from the Statesman Journal. It says, iconic Oregon forest eyed for Trump's domestic logging expansion. And it says, an iconic swath of old growth forest in West Polk County is among the 2.5 million acres the Bureau of Land Management has proposed for a logging ramp up meant to expand domestic timber production. This is in the Valley of the Giants, home to some of the largest and oldest trees on Oregon's Coast Range, is renowned for the titanic Douglas firs and western hemlocks that compose its canopy. It was recognized as an outstanding natural area and an area of critical environmental concern by the BLM in 1976. And you know what I say? Where do you want me to start cutting? That's what I got to say. Where do you want me to put this chainsaw? That's what I got to say. Old growth. Define old growth for me. You got trees that are, that can live for hundreds and hundreds of years. Are we supposed to keep all of them? Are we supposed to keep every single tree because it can live? So we should allow it to live and not harvest it and use it for our own needs and our own necessities. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with Trump on this, and all I gotta say is let's start it. Let's just start cutting down some damn trees. And of course, this goes back to something that's been happening. This is what they wanted to do in the abandoned marsh, the rewilding. Rewilding Gone Wild. This is something that was written at the captainsjournal.com, and it talks about the United Nations hatched this idea of rewilding. This ridiculous notion of rewilding is popular in the U.S., but only in the states of Colorado and Oregon, who have proposed to ban all hunting. That's right. We make national news, never for the good stuff, only for being idiots. I swear, I get so tired of going to see my relatives in other states and having them laugh at me when I tell them, yeah, I used to live in Oregon. And then they bring up all the stupid shit that Oregonians do. And you got to sit there and go, yeah, we're kind of crazy and weird in Oregon, you know. And it just infuriates me. And I'm sure my relatives are going, what the hell's the matter with the water in Portland? Yeah. Before I go any further, I want to, Tracy Guthrie Olson, she has ODFW, works with volunteer wildlife rehabbers. Umpqua Wildlife Rehab takes 1,000 plus calls for wildlife concerns that ODF and W does not have to take the calls or care for the wildlife. Coos County does not have wildlife rehabbers. And what's your point? Umpqua Wildlife Rehab takes 1,000 plus calls. Yeah, well, maybe we should get more volunteers for that. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, we got the same problem going on at the pound, Tracy. We got people leaving dogs at the pound because the pound is full and can't take any more dogs, and the county doesn't have any money for it. So they're not going out and getting the dogs that are causing trouble. So we have a lot of problems. And maybe if the state of Oregon would stop mismanaging its money as much as it's mismanaging the forest, maybe people would volunteer to help. I wouldn't want to volunteer for the state for nothing. The state has just pissed me off so much that I just don't want to do nothing for the state whatsoever. And I'm sure a lot of people feel like that. I mean, I don't want to go fishing or hunting anymore because it's become so complicated with having to get the license and permits and know when this date and that date and what's legal and what's not legal. It gets so, well, cumbersome to even do anything in this state. And that's why a lot of people, they just don't want to volunteer anymore to do anything for Oregon or Oregonians. And I can't really blame them. And all they do is keep taxing us to death. It's a very sad situation. But I want to go back to this rewilding. This propaganda is so pervasive. Now that you can see it everywhere, we need to save the planet on a massive scale. TED Talk. Why Britain needs a greener culture through rewilding. Punk rewilding that has turned into a gigantic plant to rob farmers of their land, eat less meat, and a cash grab that creates pots of money from which underserving and lazy people can steal. Sounds a little like socialism, doesn't it? Yes, rewilding. And can Scotland become the world's first rewilding nation? They have big plans for this UN program. Oh, the UK is in love with this, but doesn't that make sense to you? If you send your only real men out and neuter them by fighting all over ball games and ignore the rape of little girls and grooming gangs while you also invite savage Muslims into your country, it stands to reason that such a program would assuage the injured souls of the guilty. Even UK police officers used police cars to help traffic girls in Pakistani rape gangs, all for salary and pension plus a bit extra, I'm sure. And this is from the blog from the Captain's Journal talking about rewilding and how once again these people create these crazy programs that benefit people who don't work, who don't produce. And a lot of them, well, they're criminals. And we end up paying for them. And it's sick. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of paying for the Somalis in Michigan. I mean, and I got a story here, if I get to it here in a minute. I got a story here about all the fraud that's going on in Oregon. And once again, it involves people who came here illegally. You know, maybe Oregonians might be more concerned about their wildlife if they didn't have to watch everything around them, because the crime is just crazy and out of control here. And if you go to defend yourself or defend your property, you become the criminal. So I don't know. we need to get a hold of this green weenie bullshit that's taking hold of the state. But let me see if I'm sharing this here. Yeah, I got it. Good thing. Okay, this is from the offices of the Majority Leader Bowman, Senator Gerard, and Representative Lewis. Yes, geniuses in their own rank, and believe me, they're pretty rank. Oregon seeks to acquire Abaquaw Falls to maintain long-term public access, continue legacy of stewardship. Abaquaw, is it Abaquaw? Abaquaw? I don't know. The bipartisan, bicameral action represents the public concern over Abaquaw Falls potentially being privatized, ensuring access for all Oregonians. Well, isn't that interesting? So this used to be the Abaquaw Falls used to be in private hands. It was owned by this group, and now the state's going to buy it. And it appears some of the Republicans went along with the Democrats to get this done. It says Salem, Oregon, the Joint Committee on Ways and Means Subcommittee on Capital Construction has released its capital construction budget bills, which include funding that authorizes the state to initiate the potential acquisition of Abaquaw Falls and pursue permanent public ownership of one of Oregon's most treasured natural landmarks. The plan for public ownership of Abaquaw Falls is championed by Democrats and Republicans in both the House and the Senate. You know, I just told you a story about rewilding and how rewilding, that's what they wanted to do with abandoned marsh. You know, they talk about there's public access right now. But once the government owns it, can we stop them from denying us public access? No. And there's really no reason to think they would, but that doesn't mean they won't. So I don't know if having this in government hands is any better, but let me continue. It says, located near Scotts Mills in Marion County, Abaquaw Falls is renowned for its dramatic 92-foot waterfall cascading over columnar basalt cliffs, I'm sure I screwed that up, into a pristine pool below. Earlier this February, the Abbey Foundation of Oregon, a supporting organization of Mount Angel Abbey and Seminary, listed the property sale after over 100 years of stewardship. Now that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad that this organization, after 100 years, is now going to have to give up that property. You know, as a capitalist, as a libertarian, they should sell it to the highest bidder and take some of that money and pay for some of the things that we actually need. I don't know. We got a lot of beautiful falls in Oregon. What would be wrong with having a private person, let's say a private billionaire buys this and does close it off to the public? Would that really be so bad? Because they would have to pay, I would think they would have to pay taxes on it if it was a private individual. I guess if it was a nonprofit, they wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. But maybe we should get something in lieu of taxes. Maybe that would be better than having the state own it and then we have to pay for it. And once again, we're at the mercy of the state. Whenever they want to close it, they can close it and whatever. But the bond allocation will allow the state to pursue purchasing the property and placing it under public ownership and management, ensuring public access for generations to come. Yeah, promises, promises. Today, we are making sure that our children and grandchildren inherit not just stories about Abaquaw Falls, but the ability to stand there themselves. And that was from House Majority Leader Bowman. Yeah, wonderful. Yep, that's just wonderful. This just kills me. This is why I was asking Claire Lynn if she's worried that with the 2.5 million acres that they want to open up to timber production on BLM lands, that the state is going to retaliate and once again close down public lands or close it down to management and go to the rewilding. We want to go to rewilding where we want to remove all remnants of humankind. It's a really, really sick philosophy, but what can I say? That's the way the leftists roll. Let's see. I got another story about coming this is kind of related because this is also something that I thought was just freaking hilarious. Let me see if I can share this here. Make sure it's sharing on the screen. So after talking to you for how long about ONC lands, how we could get money from ONC lands, we could get a huge amount of money. We could benefit immensely here in Coos County from those ONC lands opening up. And one of the things that was also offered or was rumored to happen, could potentially happen, was that they ice facility, or they wanted to put an ice facility here in Coos County. Yeah, they wanted to put it in Lakeside. Here's a story about it right here. Now, I had talked to Drew Farmer. He's our commissioner here in Coos County. And I had talked to Drew Farmer on several different issues. And for some reason, we were talking about immigration because we were talking about crime and how the Trende de Gua, yeah, I can't pronounce it. I'll have a story on it in a minute. We'll read it here in a minute. Trende Aragua. That's it. Trende Aragua was actually, they've been busting them here in not just Coos County, but all over the state. And I was talking to Drew Farmer about this, and he said jokingly, I thought he was joking. He says, we would love to have an immigration facility out here. And he said, I'm talking to the immigration department. I'm talking to ICE to see about actually getting a facility out here. And I thought Drew was joking. I didn't really believe Drew was interested in that. And then it was like a couple of weeks ago, he made a video where he came out and said, yeah, I'm all for this ICE bringing in a facility and stuff. And he took a lot of heat for it. Then he pulled down the video. And then there were a couple of different things going on. Let's see. To this story, and I want to read this story to you. It says, Oregon Coast Town fumes after secret ICE camp scout. And I guess it wasn't so secret because, like I said, I knew about it several months ago when Drew had told me about it, and I thought he was joking. I thought the guy was joking. But he says, the story says, along a quiet stretch of the South Oregon coast, and by the way, this is from hoodline.com, it says that residents say they were caught off guard this week when county leaders revealed that federal contractors had quietly scoped out Lakeside as a potential site for a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention camp, which I think would be great. I think, boy, they should open up Shutter Creek and put one right there. That'd be a beautiful thing. I'd have no problem with this. The idea, briefly flagged in a Short County Facebook post, that was Drew Farmer's video, set off immediate alarms among business owners and neighbors who fear the move could undercut tourism and tighten an already tough housing market. Now, hold on. When we say that about the big projects they want to, when we said that about the LNG, the intermodal terminal that they want to bring in, when we say things like that this is going to undercut tourism and it's already going to place pressure on a tough housing market, they go, oh, don't worry, it'll work itself out. Well, what's the difference between a cargo container plant and the federal government coming in here, bringing in employees? I mean, they'll be temporary, but so will most of the construction workers for the cargo container plant. They'll be temporary workers, and then as soon as they're done, they're gone. So I love this, how they love the cargo container plant because it's a big green weenie project. But, we don't want to have federal government here in Oregon enforcing federal law. Gosh, no, we wouldn't want that. We wouldn't want them coming and getting all the predators and murderers and thieves and mentally deranged people who came here illegally out of this county and out of this area. No, we wouldn't want that now, would we? But I continue. It says, Coos County Commissioner Drew Farmer contacted a federal contractor about the possibility of leasing land in Lakeside and then posted a video summarizing the conversation. The contractor, identified in reporting as KVG, told county officials it could run a temporary tent-style facility that would hold roughly 100 to 200 detainees and employ about 115 to 130 guards and other staff. A contractor representative also warned that moving ahead in Lakeside might be moot at this point, according to Oregonian on Oregon Live. Says local officials and residents are pushing back, and not this resident. And I don't know who local officials are talking about. I guess John Sweet here. John Sweet, he'll give your tax dollars to a perverted pedo prom. Yes, John Sweet will give money to a pedo prom, but he doesn't want the federal government to come in here and bring people who are going to bring workers who are going to buy dinners. They're going to have to buy dinners. They might go shopping. They might pick up some stuff around town. They might like it and move to Coos County. Who knows? But no, John Sweet doesn't want that. So I continue here. He says, I screwed up. He later told reporters, that's Drew Farmer, he's Coos County Commissioner Chair John Sweet added that he is definitely not interested in bringing a detention center to the county. Of course not, because he's not really interested in bringing jobs. No, only jobs that he thinks are good for the county, not jobs that he doesn't like based on ideology, right? But officials note that Coos County is already staring at a budget shortfall of $2 million to $3 million, and Lakeside is still dealing with the legacy of a state prison that shut down in 2021. Residents argue that combination would make it especially hard to absorb the housing and service needs of detainees and staff. And once again, I'll tell you what they say when we say that, make that same argument against the big projects they want to always put on the North Spit. Oh, it'll just work its way out. Well, I guess it will just work its way out if we brought in, those feds. It'd be really nice. Oh, let's see. What else did I have? I think that was pretty much it. Oh, I did have, let's see if I had it here. I did have a couple of things I wanted to go over about the county. And that's happening. Let me add this to the stage. This kind of goes back to when I was talking about candidates. Don't wait for the last minute to sign up to be a candidate, because you make it very difficult on people who might have the potential to help you. If you wait for the last minute, we might be busy at that point in time and can't give you any help in your campaign. So give us a little bit of time. Make a little bit of preparation. That's all we're saying. But one of the things you can do if you want to run for any position, say it's city councilor, school board, or county commissioner, the meetings that you want to go to are the budget meetings. The budget meetings is where all the garbage comes out. And right now the county is having the budget meetings. They had one today. It was on Zoom. You can catch them on Zoom. Let's see if I can get this here. Board of Commissioners. This is an Adams Street, 225 North Adams, Coquille in the Owens building. Let's see, Drew Farmer, Rod Taylor, John Sweet will be there. Starting March 9th today, there's been a revised special meetings notice. Coos County Board of Commissioners. The Coos County Board of Commissioners has scheduled and will attend the following meetings during the period of March 9th, 2026 through March 13th. And these meetings all are work sessions. If you can see the budget hybrid meeting for March 9th, March 10th, a work session. That's an MOU with the BLM. That's going to probably be a good thing. I definitely want to be there for that work session. I hope that is not an executive session, but yeah, I hope to be able to attend that. But once again, at 9 a.m., they have the work session for the budget meeting. On Wednesday at 9 a.m., the budget meeting. And let's see, Thursday, the budget meeting, and Friday, the budget meeting, all start at 9 a.m. So if you're one of those people who bitch, complain, and moan about the budget and the way the county commissioners do their budgeting, and you really want to find out what's going on, these are the meetings you go to. These meetings right here. All these meetings right there, those meetings are the ones where all the skeletons come out. And if you missed the one today, that's okay. Usually the first meeting isn't the best meeting. Usually the dirt starts coming out around the second meeting, but that's okay. If you missed today, that's all right. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 o'clock, at the Owen Building in Coquille. If you want to find out what's going on and the budget for the county, this is the place to go. And I'll be watching those meetings. I'll be watching the playback of the ones that I've missed. And if you don't know what's going on in the county, this is your one place to find out. You know, and we just had a guy, I don't want to mention his name. We just had a guy who signed up for county commissioner. And he's only been to one county commissioner meeting. And he decided not to sign up for commissioner because he came to a forum last week. And he's a really nice guy, but he did such a lousy job because he really didn't know what he was running for. Once again, waiting for the last minute to run for office just doesn't behoove you in any way whatsoever. But he could have been much more prepared if he would have gone to the budget meetings last year. If he would have went to the budget meetings last year, he would have been able to talk about anything on any subject for the county. That's how good these budget meetings are. But I warn you, they take all day, they're grueling, and they go over a lot of numbers. So you got to drink a lot of coffee, take your Adderall. Just joking. Take whatever you need, your Red Bull, and go sit through these meetings. And after you're through sitting through these meetings, you'll have a much better understanding of how the county works. And then later on, if you want to run for office, such as county commissioner or county clerk or the sheriffs, you can say, I sat through a week's worth of budget meetings, and here's what's going on, and here's what I want to do to change that. If you want to be a commissioner at some point in time, that's what you need to do. And that's what you need to do for a city council as well. And they're probably having those meetings. If they haven't already had them, they're usually at the beginning of the year. Every district has the budget meetings. They don't really announce them too much. The county didn't. They put them out on a regular notice. Most people don't know they're going on. But if you do find out your city is having a budget meeting, you need to get out there and you need to find out what's happening in your city. And this is how you do it. So I just wanted to let you know that we do have things going on in the county. The commissioners are still working on stuff. And what can I tell you? It's budgets are no fun. Budgets are no fun. We did have one good thing happen at the legislature. Kevin Starrett sent out this notice 2 days ago, or 3 days ago. HB 4145, now a good bill, passes. This passes. What was a really bad bill, which pretty much was a mirror to Measure 114, is now a good bill, and I'll explain to you why. It says today the Oregon House overwhelmingly agreed to the changes made by the Senate to HB 4145 and repassed the bill. As amended, the bill now simply moves the implementation date of the clearly unconstitutional Measure 114 to January 1st of 2028. So it pushes it off, way off, so that by the time, hopefully it works through the courts, that it's been found unconstitutional and goes away. But we'll see. It says, and Kevin continues here, he says, the timing of this vote was interesting for several reasons. First, Oregon Republicans were able to reference a brand new decision out of all places, Washington, D.C. court, which struck down magazine bans, which is a good thing because I don't know how many bullets I need. I mean, you know, if I got a 10 round magazine and I get attacked by 20 people, I'm 10 bullets short. Plain and simple. Just doing some simple math there. But while that decision only applied to the defendant in the case, it was still welcome news because finally a court took notice of some painfully obvious facts that other courts have ignored and dismissed. And if you go to Oregon Firearms Federation, their website, they have a video explains how more in detail in doing that. So I'm so glad there's people like Kevin out there doing these kinds of things because I really don't know if anyone would really take his place. It's hard to say. I don't know. I hope so. I hope, you know, we're finding people who are now stepping up to as conservatives here in Coos County, and which makes me feel better because, you know, I'm getting up there in age and at some point, you know, I may drop dead at any point in time, but we need people to replace us. And so I'm glad that there's people starting to move into these positions who are, signing up for PCP and all that good stuff to replace some of his old guys, because we're going to need it. We're going to need it. Believe me. Let's see. What else did I have to? Yes, this is important. We definitely have to talk about this because I want to fill up the seats, folks. I want to fill up the seats at the Marshfield Auditorium. This is happening this Saturday. And if you're in town, if you're in the area, I'd highly recommend you going. It starts at 5:00. We're going to have several local candidates. Lynn is going to be there to speak. She'll be there beforehand to meet with people. You can meet with politicians. This is going to be really cool. Please come out. And not only that, but would you please share this? If you see this post on social media, it's on Twitter, whether it's on Facebook, if it's on MeWe, Instagram, whatever, and you see this, would you please share? Would you please like and share this? Because I would really like to impress upon the governor candidates that Coos County, we're not a bunch of fence sitters. No, we're going to get out there. We're going to pick a side. We're going to make a decision, and we're going to live with it. We're going to live with that decision. That's the way we are in Coos County. And so we need people to show up. I think they said we got 1,100 seats out there, 1,100 seats. I'd like to fill them all. I'd like to fill all of them up. And you got some really good candidates here. You've got Ed Deal. You got Danielle Bethel. You got David Medina. I wish Christine Drazen and Chris Dudley, I wish they wouldn't have had their scheduling conflict. I don't know if it's so much a scheduling conflict or, maybe, I don't know. They just are afraid. They're afraid because, they know we're actual conservatives down here in Coos County. That's really what I think they're afraid of. And in fact, I wrote an article about it. Let's see if I can share that. I wrote an article on my website, robtaylorreport.com. Here's the Republican candidates. And I talk about why 2 Republican candidates refuse to debate in conservative Oregon. And it's pretty simple. Dudley is a moderate. And it doesn't help him out to come out here and look moderate in front of several really good conservatives in a county that's mostly full of those type of conservatives. It doesn't help him out to come to this debate because he's going to be seen as a moderate. Now, Christine, she's a moderate, but she's also got another hang up. She's part of the establishment. She voted for tampons in the boys' bathroom. She voted for a lot of DEI BS. She voted for a lot of nonsense that, as far as I'm concerned, was bad. I forget which gun bill she refused to lead a walkout when she was the minority leader. She refused to do a walkout. And I forget which really bad gun bill we got stuck with. So she's not much of a leader, but she's part of the establishment and she's a moderate, and she has no reason to come down here and debate you, Coos County, because she doesn't think you're going to vote for her. Christine Drazen doesn't think you're going to vote for her. She thinks that you're probably going to pick one of these 3 people or maybe the other people, because there's 12 people in the campaign. I don't know who you're going to choose, but Drazen, I don't think she believes by any stretch of the imagination that you folks would vote for her. And that's why she's not coming to our debate. And so that's why I went to writing this article, why 2 Republican candidates refuse to debate in conservative Oregon. And it talks about the party, and it also talks about the system. I go on to tie it to the vote by mail problem that we have. A lot of the problem that we have underperforming Republicans, and it's not a sexual performance problem. It's a voting performance problem. We have a lot of underperforming Republicans because, a lot of them just don't think the system is on the up and up. They think the system is corrupt. And so why would you vote in a corrupt system? And what I tell people and what I try to tell people, it's like going to the casino. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose based on the odds and your luck. Well, there's only so much cheating that they can do. And so therefore, if we can overwhelm them with a larger amount of Republicans, non-affiliated voters coming in and voting for our candidates, we can overwhelm the cheat. Beat the cheat, I think was the term for it. But this is something that I tie into this, and this is part of the reason why I know that Christine and Dudley, they have no reason to come down to Coos County, and that's why you only have these candidates right here who are willing to speak up in our area, because we're conservatives. We voted overwhelmingly. 58% of us in Coos County voted for Donald Trump. So whoever can win this debate and whoever can show themselves as the toughest conservative, I think is going to do a hell of a job of taking votes here in Coos County. So this is going to be really interesting. I know there's a lot of David Medina fans out there. If you're a big David Medina fan, you're a big Danielle Bethel. If you're a big fan of Danielle Bethel or Medina, then these are the people that you need to come out and support. I think they're going to do a hell of a job. Let's see. I had something else to mention. Did I have something else to mention? Yeah. And you can still call Drazen. There's her phone number. If you want to send her an email and give her a call and ask her, hey, why do you not like us here in Coos County? Because you always seem to turn down a debate in Coos County. You never like coming out here and debating, Christine. Why? Call her up and ask her why. And if you're a supporter of Christine, let me know why. I'd love to see that. Let's see. Chris Dudley. He can also be reached. There's his email address, and that's all nice and well. You can also ask him if he would like to attend. That would be a beautiful thing, I think. Let's see. We also have an event going on the 29th of March at the Backside Brewery in Roseburg. We've got David Clemens. He's the professor who's been dealing with the election integrity stuff. Ben Edel, of course, and Steve Hamerson are going to be speaking there. You can sign the End Vote by Mail petition there. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good things that are happening. I'll tell you what. And then, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to do a ballot harvesting party on election day. Yeah, that's happening in May. We're going to do a ballot harvesting party for the Republican primary. And we'll send out notices on that in the next month or so. But that ought to be entertaining. That will probably be our next event. But you can join Chris. He's always out there on Saturday mornings at the headquarters, 3229 Broadway at the Newmark Plaza. Have coffee with a conservative. Really good stuff going on out there. Really, really good stuff. And of course, if you do want to sign the petitions, Monday through Wednesday, 2 to 6 p.m. You can sign all six petitions, folks. 6 petitions. You know that young lady, Emily, the lady who was the protester. I had her on the show. She was, and she did a really good job on the show. I'll have to have her back on, but she's kind of a leftist. She's totally a leftist. But she was on here and she signed 3 of the 4 petitions. She signed 3 of those 4 petitions. So she's a leftist. She's someone who came out to protest the Turning Point event that we had. And yet she signed 3 out of the 4 petitions. So what does that tell you? I'll tell you what it tells you. Our petitions are really good, and that it transcends political lines. It transcends ideology. People see these issues and they're getting tired of it, no matter whether they're Democrat or Republican. But you can come out, you can sign these petitions 2 to 6, Monday through Wednesday. And on Fridays at Uncle Randy's, between 4 and 6 at Uncle Randy's. And they got really good stuff over there at Uncle Randy's. Really like their stuff. I like their sausage and biscuits. Good stuff over there at Uncle Randy's. But every Friday from 4 to 6 p.m., they will have those same petitions so that people in Coquille and Myrtle Point can sign them as well and become a PCP member. Remember, March 10th is the last day you can sign up. Now, I didn't get no news from Matt whether they won the Where's 3H Tree Service. Oh, wait. Actually, I did. Well, that's weird. I didn't hear him. 4952. Matt Holman from 3H Tree Service. Let's see what he says. He says, wrapping up for the day, no winner. Oh, so sad. No winner, guys. Nobody won the Where's 3H Tree Service today. That's okay. He'll be out there next week. Next Monday, we'll play Where's 3H Tree Service. Where are they? I don't know. But if you find them here in Coos County, they will pay you out. You can win a prize from them. Very good stuff. And they are also my sponsors. I'm proud to have these folks as sponsors. You can reach them at 541-294-1800. That's 541-294-1800. That's 3H Tree Service. They come in, they remove those problem trees with surgical precision, and they leave you a beautiful view, and you don't even know they were there because they clean up after themselves. How much more could you possibly want? You shouldn't need any more. But if you do, you have a tree that's a liability. The branches are hanging over your eaves or maybe your neighbor's eaves. You want to take that liability out? 3H Tree Service, 541-294-1800. Really good people, family-friendly business. Tom and Gigs, also another beautiful family-friendly business over in the Empire neighborhood, behind the car wash. If you know where Empire is, you know where the car wash is. They're right behind the car wash. That's at 135 South Shoneman Street in Coos Bay. And you can reach them at 541-888-4660. Tom and Gigs is the place to go to find out if your car is travel worthy. Is your car travel worthy? I found out a couple of weeks ago my car wasn't travel worthy, and I got a flat tire on the way to Coos Bay. I should have gone to Tom and Gigs, but I didn't. I was a fool, but don't you be a fool like me. If you're not sure whether your car is travel worthy, give a call over to Tom and Gigs, and they'll inspect that car and let you know whether you can be traveling or not. So very good place, very good people, 135 South Shoneman Street. And they don't have, they have all kinds of things. You can get lift kits, performance accessories. If you need a muffler, if you need shots, struts, you need your car aligned. I'm telling you, Tom and Gigs is the place to go. And they are the largest dealership for RC cars and other things. This is a nice little Alias drone there. There's a nice RC car. Another beautiful one. Oh, there, Tom and Gigs. There you go. RC needs. I'm telling you, we need to have a battle. We need to play out a battle, a naval battle at Mingus Park. I don't know which naval battle, but we'll figure something out. We can get a hero copter, all kinds of hero copters. We even got military style, and of course we got planes and more RC cars. A lot of good stuff happening over at Tom and Gigs. And you can get some tannerite, but you have to be 18 years or older to purchase tannerite. And yes, they will ask for an ID. Herbal Choices, my choice for herbs. They've got some sales coming on because it's March. And March is known for St. Patrick's Day, not St. Patty's Day. You damn Americans. It's St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick, the saint, the patron saint of travel. Yes, it's St. Patrick's Day. And so therefore, Herbal Choices is having a sale on their green stuff. Yeah, I don't know. There's a connection there somehow. But it's a good place if you are into partaking in herbals. They have great gummies. They have really great elixirs, extracts, all kinds of good stuff. They got these chocolate bars. I haven't tried one yet, but they've got these chocolate bars that are THC, CBD infused. It's a one-on-one. Really, really good. Really good stuff. So, I don't know. Wow, Sandy Arquette says, owner of Herbal is dirty. Don't like that guy. Well, you don't have to. He's always been a good friend to me, and he's the one who actually has dedicated the office space to us for the Republican headquarters. So you may have problems with him. I've been okay with him. That happens. We all have our different opinions, but I still think Herbal Choices is the best of dispensaries here in Coos County, and they have 5 stores, one in Charleston, one in Coos Bay, one in Bandon, one in Reedsport, and one in North Bend. Very good stores, great lighting, and bud tenders who are very knowledgeable. And remember, I'm not just pushing weed to push weed. I also believe that if you have a bad habit, maybe you should try some abstinence. And I'm just not talking weed. I'm just talking about anything that you have that's a bad habit, you might want to abstain from. Because there's a lot of bad habits that cause a lot of problems down the road. Takes a lot of your money, it takes a lot of your time, your self-respect, and you all know all the dirty, nasty habits that humans have. Well, try a little abstinence. It's the old what Nancy Reagan used to say, just say no. It's pretty damn simple, and she was right. Just say no. Just abstain from all those bad activities. I know, put down the crack pipe. Don't smoke the crack today. Try some abstinence. I don't know. It's a crazy idea, just something I'm pushing. And of course, Oregon Firearms Federation. They've been dealing with the Oregon gun laws for over 30 years, and Kevin is an incredible warrior fighting for our Second Amendment rights. The Oregon Firearms Federation, the only no compromise group in Oregon, OregonFirearms.org. And let's see, Bandon Gun Club, they're not my sponsors, but I like to promote them because they're a good group of people. BandonGunClub.org. Or if you have a rifle and you want to hone in your telescope, try the Taiga sportspark.org. They have a 100-yard shooting range where you can get that scope sighted in. And of course, the Coos County Neighborhood Watch Group. It's a group that I go to almost every morning. That's the first place I go to because I want to find out what the hell criminals are doing in Coos County. What the hell are they doing? What are they doing? Is the one-armed bandit out there? It was funny. I just read a story. I'm not sure if this was on Coos County Neighborhood Watch. They were talking about a hooker. This guy was complaining about a hooker that doesn't use protection. And I'm thinking, well, she's a hooker. And he was warning the other guys, don't bang this hooker because she's got STDs and you'll get STDs. And if you get those STDs, you'll take them home to your wife, which I thought was great. But the way he made it sound like he was mad that for some reason she wouldn't partake in his business or something. I don't know. It was a very weird story, but I thought it was very funny. It was almost as funny as the one-armed bandit story. But that's the kinds of things you will read on the Coos County Neighborhood Watch, plus find out what else is happening as far as crime in your neighborhood. And Chris Castleman has this great group called Coos County Citizen Council. They have a podcast live streaming every Wednesday at 6:00. Highly recommend it. Really good group of people. And before I get out of here, I just gotta remind you folks this Friday, because I think this is just really huge for Coos County. I think this is just going to be big. This is the only time you're going to see this many governor candidates in the county is at this debate. And it's sad. It's depressing that the two, I would consider the two top candidates, Drazen and Dudley. It's sad they're not going to be here. And Dudley had a chance. He had a chance to be here, and he really wiggled out of it. I mean, Christine said right away, oh, I got a scheduling conflict. But Dudley's group, they were, oh, no, we'll get back to you. And then I called him, well, we're not sure what we're going to do. Give us a day or two. And I called him back, well, we're still deciding. So it was like, yeah, right. I don't know what your problem is there, the Dudley campaign, but it's kind of insulting the way you treated us here in Coos County. I don't know if people are going to vote for people who can't even come to our county and hear our questions. I don't know. I just don't see it. But you can come and see Ed Deal, Danielle Bethel, and of course, David Medina. And Taryn Feist is the host. She's the moderator. Incredible young woman. Check out her podcast, the Taryn Feist podcast. Very good stuff. I don't know. Let's see. I had a funny video. This was just hilarious. You know, we are living in trans Tifa world here in Oregon. And every time I see one of these transformer dudes going crazy over something stupid, I'm sorry. I just feel the need to share. And that's why I got to share this video with you, because it cracked me up. I think it will crack you up as well.
I'm here at the Wheaton Mall in Wheaton, Maryland. And despite this store being hiring, they have beautiful dresses. I just went in and asked if I could be hired. And they told me that I couldn't because I'm not a woman. And only a woman can work at that job. So Cinderella in the Wheaton Mall, you're on notice. Sorry.
Now, this really hit home for me because my granddaughter loves Disney princesses. She loves Cinderella. I think my granddaughter could probably reenact Cinderella. I'm pretty sure I've seen her do it. She has Cinderella dresses. She has Cinderella outfits. She just loves the show. And if my granddaughter, if I were to take her to this dress shop, this nice dress shop in the mall, I think that was in Maryland, and they would have hired that freak to be a salesperson, and I walked in and that freak wanted to help out my grandchild, no, that's not happening. You're not going to get anywhere near my kid, you weirdo. Okay. Nothing personal against you, but yeah, there's a problem with you. You're a dude who's pretending to be a woman working at a dress shop. I don't think women like that. I don't know. I'm not a woman, but I know as a grandparent who has a granddaughter, I'm not going to allow my granddaughter to be helped by whatever that was. And I know there are leftists out there who are saying, "Oh, Rob, you're so transphobic. You're so transphobic." Well, let me tell you something. Last year, it was probably more than a year ago, I had to go get a sports coat. My sports coat was too tight and I had to go get a new one. And you can't buy sports coats here in Coos County. If you want a suit jacket, you have to go out of the county. You have to go up to Lane County. Let's see. I went to Macy's. I went to, the gentleman's, what's that outfit? Where they sell suits. And then I went to Jacques Penier. Remember Jacques Penier, JC Penney's? Well, I went to Jacques Penier and I was trying on the suit coats, and a guy dressed as a woman, just like the creature you just saw, came up to me and asked me if I could use any help. And I said, sure, I could use some help. And he helped me try on a couple of the jackets. And then I had him give me some shirts. They didn't have my size of shirts out. And so I said, look, why don't you go get me some shirts? Cause go check, see. And this transformer dude, he was really nice guy. And I had no problem with him helping me because I'm an adult male. I'm not threatened by him or his weirdness whatsoever. So I had no problem him helping me get the shirts and get the suits on. And I made a sale. And I don't know if Jacques Penier suit salesmen, they used to be on commission. I'm probably sure that doesn't happen anymore. But as I was walking out, the manager was standing at the end of the desk, and she goes, "Was the service okay?" I said, "The service was great. Your sales associate here was wonderful," pointing at the creature who was the dude pretending to be a chick, which is perfectly fine for me. If it's me, I have no problem having the transformer dude come help me out. My granddaughter, not happening, dude. Not happening. I don't think people understand that who are on the left side. We have no problem with trans people, but trans people in intimate situations with our kids or our grandkids, I have a huge problem with that, and I'm not going to tolerate it, and I don't care what the consequences are. So for all of you who think I'm transphobic, I'm not. I just told you the story about the wonderful, nice transformer dude who helped me get a suit jacket at Jacques Penier. I hope that dude, lady, is having a wonderful life. Don't mean him any malice. And so I get ticked off when I see guys like this, who I just showed you in that video, going after a store. It's probably owned by some ma and pa store who's now going to be attacked on Facebook and all the other social media. And it's just sad. It's sad that this transformer dude is going to bring such misery on that business. So I don't know. I don't know where this world's going, but it's just getting to be a crazy, crazy place. Let's see. Tracy says, we need a man's clothing and accessory store in Coos Bay in North Bend. You know, Tracy, I was going to open up a man's clothing and accessory store in Bandon. Yep. When I first moved here, I was actually considering that. I was thinking I was going to sell men's eyewear and suits and suit pants. And I wanted to have this whole business with ties and shoes, just a place where a guy could come. And I at the time there was a tailor here, and I thought this would be a great place because, you know, we have all those golfers come in. But I forget what happened to that idea. But that was something I was actually considering many, many years ago. I thought that would be a good thing to open up, and I'm glad I didn't, because it sure would have been a lot of work. But yes, Tracy, I agree with you. We need a really good clothing and accessory store here. Totally. Yeah, it's just frustrating. If you're a dude and you need nice slacks, you just can't get them here in Coos County. It's sad. You have to go all the way over. Well, I do have some good news for all of you people who are fans of the Friday night rants. We didn't have a Friday night rant this week because, well, dealing with guests is very hard. I had someone scheduled, then they got off the schedule, then they got on the schedule, and then they said, no, I don't think we're going to be able to do it. And by that time it was Thursday. So I got somebody else, and then they couldn't do it. And then I asked Paul Romero, because Paul Romero's been bugging me to get in on this governor's debate. And of course, after, you know, he's one of the people that's on a second tier list and just didn't get into the debate. All the other candidates who are of the 12 who didn't get in the forum, same reason. We can only have so many because of the time. But I didn't call him. I emailed Paul and asked him if he wanted to be on the Friday night rant. And he said, no, he wasn't interested. So I said, okay, I'm done. I was just tired. So I said, you know, after 3-4 days of trying to get someone as a guest on the Friday night rant, I couldn't get anyone, or they kept falling through. We'll get them on later down the road. Rob from Base and Tackle was one of them, and we'll get him on down the road. But this week, folks, I'm going to have a really good Friday night rant. David Medina is going to be on live with me this Friday at 8:00. Me, Marty, and David Medina here Friday night at 8:00 on the Friday night rant. What do you think of that? How do you like those apples? I like apples, and I like those apples. So it ought to be a pretty cool Friday night. I hope you all can join us. There's going to be a lot happening. I hope you can get out to that candidate forum, and definitely, if you can, get out to the budget meetings that are happening at the county. What can I tell you? A lot of good stuff. And you know what I say. You know what I say until next time, folks. And it's kind of important because we got to keep doing this no matter how hard life gets, no matter how much pressure life puts on us. We got to just do one thing. Carry on, Coos County. Carry on.